Hello, welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. This is our 10th day of Podmas, where we're putting out an episode every day in the lead up to Christmas. Today we have Netflix 278th film from 2020. It's the Spanish psychological thriller called The Paramedic, or El Practicante. It's directed by Carles Torres and stars Maria Casas and Deborah Francois. I'm Jesse. I'm here, your host today, ready to talk about this international film. As always, if you want to avoid spoilers and don't want this one ruined for you, give us a pause and come back a little bit later on, because we kick off the show with the Fast Flicks, where we do a quick little summary of what the film is all about. So this one is about an unlikable man who's crippled in a work accident. His girlfriend leaves him, but he doesn't know how to let go. Intriguing. International film, we often struggle to discuss how this ended up on Netflix and find out anything to do with the film, and as always, that's the case with this one. Talking about the film, I think it's probably the first film that I've seen in sort of the time order that actually makes reference to COVID in the actual dialogue of the film. There's a scene in the car when the radio is playing and it mentions the China virus, and they talk about Wuhan and it being similar to the SARS virus. So obviously, the part of the time of what was going on as this film was being made, and it was shot in and around Barcelona in Spain. It hit Netflix on the 16th of September 2020. It had one win from one nomination. Mario Casas won Best Spanish Actor at the Dias de Cine Awards for this film. If we look a little bit further at the translations for this one, so what's the actual Spanish title of El Practicante? It means the practitioner. In Portuguese, it's called Bitter Medicine, which is not a bad title. In French, it's called Irremediable. In Japanese, it's called Paramedic Dark Emergency Rescuer. And in Norwegian and Swedish, it's called Deadly Medicine. Polish, it's called Lifeguard. And in Chinese, it's called Life-Saving Medicine. So all to do with this paramedic and his use of drugs, probably not in a good way. What are the critics and audiences saying about this film? So on Rotten Tomatoes, it sits at 50%. That's on just 10 reviews. That is rotten. The audience has it at 32%, so even lower. That's on more than 50 ratings. IMDb, 5.7 out of 10. Not many ratings there at all. Letterboxd, a few more. Sits at a 2.5 out of 5 on a bit over 12,000 ratings. So, not even 1,200 ratings. So, not a lot of people have seen this film. What are my early thoughts for this one? So, I thought this was well done. Sort of reminiscent of films like Misery. There was tension throughout. I thought it looked really good. So, I enjoyed this. I think it wasn't too bad. So, let's talk about the characters in this one. Angel's who we've got to talk about. He's our paramedic. The title of this film. He a bit of a creepy guy. He likes to take souvenirs from his patients. If they're in sort of critical accidents, he steals things from them and hoards them and then sells them for his own personal gain. So not a nice guy. Even comes across as a bit of a horrible person to his partner, his girlfriend, Vane. His neighbour, he's not very nice to him, and the main reason for that is because this neighbour, his dog barks all the time and keeps him up at night, even though this old neighbour sort of, is having his own struggles. His wife's dying in hospital, and that's the reason why he's not at home, to keep the dog quiet, and Angel still doesn't really care about that. And his life becomes even worse, I guess, when he's in his accident in his ambulance that he's working in. He's paralysed from the waist down, and this leads to further depression and his girlfriend leaving him, and then him stalking her as well. So that's sort of the gist of him. Vane is the girlfriend that we mentioned. She's studying to be a vet, and they're trying to have a child, but they're not successful, even though Angel probably tries a little bit too hard in the bedroom. We see that on the screen. Her interest in Angel sort of seems to be lacking as even before the accident, before he's in a wheelchair, because she's spending more time and catching up with people from her classes and her study, and you can probably don't blame her. This guy doesn't seem like a very nice guy to be around. The only other character is Ricardo, who is Angel's co-worker in the ambulance. He obviously feels guilty for the accident which put Angel in the wheelchair, but at the same time, Angel's horrible to him, and he's sort of a person that Vane is able to console him. And obviously, I've said there's spoilers, but they sort of end up together, and that creates even further tension for Angel. The director, Carles Torres, 6 directing credits. They're all in Spanish. at the moment, this is his last piece of work. So we'll see if anything else is going to come in the future. Scenes. Let's talk about some scenes. What are some things that I liked? I think the start of this film, there's a car crash to start the film. The camera use was really good. It looked really, really cool. Great start to the film. This vindictiveness that we see of Angel when Varney isn't home to give him meds. He's like sweating up and, he finally gets the meds, takes them, and then, to get back at her, he hides the rest of the medications and makes it out like that it was her fault that, she wasn't home. So, and it was her fault that he didn't have any left, even though he did, and makes her, go and get him more, which is just horrible. The use of music to drown out Varney's screams throughout once he takes her captive. The lyrics were super clever, referencing things like, I won't ever forget you. You taught me how to love. Little matters if you don't love me. These types of lyrics, which really well chosen for these scenes. Angel just taking Ricardo out. It's clever. Clever scene. And then finally, the whole final escape from Varney. She's trying to get out. Angel's coming back. It's so stressful. It's tense. She's crawling. It just had me on edge the whole time. I thought that was really well done. What are the things that I didn't like in this one? A lot of the dialogue, I guess. Some of the Angel at one stage, he's so arrogant, and he talks about his sperm being world class, and then asks Varney if she wants some now. Just a bit. Oh, it was gross. And then she's like, "I've got my period," and he says, "I don't care." Gross. Just gross. I don't know why you include that. Angel tells Varney to get him ice cream. And then in about 2 seconds, he installs this hacker thing on her phone. Just way too quick and unrealistic. This was laughable, but Angel goes to poison the dog's neighbor in this park. And for disguise, he wears sunglasses, so no one can recognize him. It doesn't really work because he's still in a wheelchair, so quite obvious. Angel gets a taxi driver to help him stalk Varney. That was just a little bit over the top. And finally, there's this Furman dude who we see throughout that Angel's using to get drugs from and sell things to. And just the idea that Angel has this guy who he can call on to get rid of a dead body for him. Just a little bit over the top for a paramedic. What's this film trying to say? Some themes, some ideas. So that idea of obsession, abusive partners, domestic violence, these are all highlighted through this film, especially through the poor character of Angel. Bitterness and darkness too. These things existed in Angel well before he was in a wheelchair. So he's just not a very good character, not a really nice person. And that idea too, no morals. This guy doesn't have any, he steals from the dead. He will kill anyone who gets in his way without any guilt or any remorse. And that idea too, a little bit of revenge, that power struggle, revenge on people who you seem to have thought have done you wrong. What did I take away from this film? This happens every now and then with international films, but there were parts in this film where the subtitles were missing, and I found that very frustrating. It's annoying when you're trying to get into a film and enjoy it, and you just miss chunks of dialogue, so I thought that was annoying. Questions, ponderings, any thoughts about this film? I think, is it a fair question to ask that, Angel has no redeeming qualities? I did not see anything nice from this guy at all. He thought of no one but himself, and I find, in a film, sometimes you do need to see redeeming qualities in a character, but they've obviously set out with him as a character and said, nah, this guy's just going to be horrible the whole way through. And if that's what they were aiming to achieve, they've definitely done that. And especially through the end, we sort of said, we see Varney picks up Angel so Angel doesn't die in the end. He's still alive. He's in a vegetative state, and Angel's picked up by Varney, and she's like, "I'll look after you." I found this an interesting ending because I didn't feel that Varney ever came across as vindictive or someone who wanted to get revenge. So the idea that it's left in the audience's mind that she's gonna get some revenge, I thought it was a little bit of a change up in character just in that last moment that I'm not sure we needed. So intrigued with that ending. I'm ready to wrap this up. We give the films a rating out of 5. For me, it's a decent film. It's a little film too. I think that it proves that some people are just bad people. I think that's what they're trying to say through the character of Angel, and that people will continue to be bad even if they have a chance to reflect and change their behaviors. And Angel was just pure evil. I'll give this a 3 out of 5. I think this is worth a watch if you're into these types of films. We're on socials. We've got Instagram, Facebook, and X, which is formerly known as Twitter. The question this leads on that I want to put on social media is the idea of what will Varney do with Angel now that she's got control over him? What's she going to do with him now? As she wheels him down that corridor at the end of the film, what's she going to do with him? I'm intrigued. Is she going to keep him prisoner and just make him reflect on his life and the poor choices he's made? I'm not sure. I'm interested. Let us know your thoughts too. As always, well, not as always, but as we're in Podmas, we're back again tomorrow. Tomorrow, we've got another international film from 2020. It's the Indian Hindi language called Dolly Kitty or Hu Chamakte Stare. It's directed by Alan Kreda Shrivastava and stars Konkona Sen Sharma and Bhumi Pednekar. that's what we've got tomorrow, a Hindi language film. Hopefully it give you enough time to watch it and come back and join in tomorrow. As always, thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.